Welcome to Scale Without Chaos, the podcast on business growth, visionary leadership, and scalable systems. Each week, you'll hear real stories, the messy parts, and the proven strategies that help leaders grow without burning out their team or themselves. And yes, you'll definitely hear a few spicy takes along the way. Here are some highlights from this week's episode.
We're headed towards superintelligence probably in the next decade, maybe 2035, 2040-ish, to the point where when we go to sleep and wake up, we're going to be back in time because AI has already advanced so much and learned so much when we were asleep that they're not going to be able to keep up.
That's it. That's the end of the whole discussion. We need to implement AI, and then everyone is expected to go off into their own areas, their own silos, and just kind of figure it out. And now, this week's episode. I don't think I will ever get used to the countdown in this particular program. That's just never going to happen. But anyway, I want to welcome everyone back for another season, our first episode of Scale Without Chaos. I am excited to make kind of a little bit of a shift here in what we're talking about in the Scale Without Chaos framework. So Scale Without Chaos, as folks who have been following along knows, we're talking about people, processes, and systems. And the system or the process that everyone really wants to talk about right now is AI. So I have reached out to my network, chatted with a whole bunch of different folks within the local industry here, as well as globally. And so we're going to chat a little bit about what's happening with AI here in New Hampshire specifically today with my guest, Brady Keene. Brady is with Stepo.AI as well as Keene State College. And so I'll let him introduce himself and what he's up to right now. But Brady, thank you again so much for joining me today. I appreciate it knowing that you have a very full day working on everything that you do today, plus having a little guy at home. So thank you for making the time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me. Just a little bit about me. I'm originally from Massachusetts, grew up in a small town called Norton, southeastern Massachusetts. And then after high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And my girlfriend at the time was applying to all these colleges, and one of them was Keene State. And we both got in. I was like, where are you going? She said Keene State. And I was like, I'm going to go to Keene State too. So, lover
Nice.
boy that I am, I followed her, and then it ended up working out well. Originally, I wanted to be a high school history teacher at Keene, and then I ended up hating that, and I was taking a safety class, and I ended up really enjoying it. But long story short, I went through Keene's occupational safety and health program, and I never went back home. I've spent in Keene the rest of the time. I worked for a grant-funded program through the school called WorkWise NH. I still work for them, part of my role here at Keene, and then I started teaching. Ultimately, I've been an academic for the better part of 7 years now. And I've been a professor in our safety and construction sciences programs. And now I'm the department chair for our 3 programs, which is construction safety, construction management, and safety and occupational health applied science. And then about a year and a half ago, I went on paternity leave. I had a baby, and I got 12 weeks off. Thank God I'm in higher ed, right? And
Yes.
if anyone knows me, like 12 weeks of no work is crazy. Like I need to be doing something. Even with a baby at home, I had to be doing something. So I started filling my time on Reddit, believe it or not, and posting in the Safety Professionals Reddit page. And one day I got a DM from a guy, and he's like, "Hey, I really like what you post. You want to talk?"
On Reddit.
Sketchy, bro.
Yeah.
But he convinced me to meet. It was supposed to be a 15-minute meeting, and then it turned into almost 2.5 hours. And he ended up being a tech guy that was really interested in building and tech. And I was like, you want to try just working together for a little bit and see where it goes? And that started Stepo.AI, and we've been building and deploying and running trials ever since. We've got our product in high-risk industries, helping with safety observations, with research, and a whole lot of things. So I know that's long-winded.
No.
That's my story.
No, that's perfect. I love that story too. And I think you and I are going to have a lot of interesting juxtapositions to talk about too, because obviously I'm in the business community and you're in safety. And it's it runs the gamut. Like what we're doing right now runs the gamut, and
Yeah.
this will be a really fun conversation. So talk a little bit more about Stepo.AI. So what is that? What do you do? And then we can get into what we're kind of seeing right now.
Yeah, so Stepo.AI is an AI platform. It's agentic in nature. So we have an agent. Her name is Sophie, and she runs a multitude of different safety tasks for anyone from the craft, the actual workers, where the rubber meets the road, all the way up to the C-suite executive. But it's primarily used by safety teams. We deploy to anyone that's in a high-risk industry, from consulting all the way through construction, utility, manufacturing, even insurance as well. So our primary focus in terms of features, we do safety observations. A lot of the times it takes people, 10, 15 minutes to go out and get all the information and document it, find the research for it. We do it in about 10 to 20 seconds once you get really good at it.
Yeah.
And we mine data from it as well, including OSHA stuff, internal policies, procedures, high energy sources, all sorts of good stuff. But Sophie can do a lot of different things. She can generate toolbox talks. She can record observations, like I had mentioned. She can do data analytics based on your injury and illness, loss runs, whatever it may be. She can do it for you. It's just about asking. Um, so that's what we do at Step. Our primary focus right now is in the construction utility sector.
Mhm.
We've seen really good deployment and use in utility service providers, especially.
Yeah. That's so cool, so needed. It just the amount of data that's within that industry that's just kind of sitting in all these different systems. I mean, obviously that's where Sophie came from, but I've always wanted to ask you too, where did the name Sophie come from?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. All right. Just to
Oh,
that's fine. I was curious if there was like a, oh, it's my mom or something like that is
no,
always fun.
no. It's just an approachable name. Like, we're a male-dominated industry in high-risk industries,
Right.
and there's a little bit of comfort for a lot of people to have like a female voice to talk to. So, we know we wanted to head that direction and make it like really neutral and safe for people. And then one day my partner was just like, "How about Sophie?" Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I
yeah.
think it works with that goal in mind of making it approachable. I think that that's the if you could come up with a perfect name to do that, it sounds like Sophie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a good solution.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing right now from a lot of the businesses that I'm working with, so like I said, we're parallel. So I'm building agents as well for a lot of different customers, and right now they're all coming to me saying, "Hey, we don't even know where to start. We have absolutely no idea." So typically the how AI gets implemented in an organization goes like this. The CEO has a meeting and they say, "We need to implement AI."
Yeah.
That's it. That's the end of the whole discussion. We need to implement AI. And then everyone is expected to go off into their own areas, their own silos, and just kind of figure it out. And a few folks that I've talked to have told me, well, Sam, this technology vendor that we're working with right now is implementing AI into a platform that we're using, like our CRM. So that counts. We're using AI. And I'm like, hmm, maybe. Maybe, but I don't think that would really if in my world that really wouldn't hold water. That argument really wouldn't hold water. So I'm curious, Brady, about kind of what you're seeing with the folks who are using your product, Stepo, and what's going on.
Yeah. So what I'll say is like, uh, I have a lot of contacts in my profession. I know a lot of consultants that focus in this space too, and consistently across the board, when the C-suite says that we're going to use AI, it's been like, all right, I'm going to give you access to an LLM and
Yeah,
go for it, and
yeah.
that's it, right?
Hmm.
But there's no training, there's no scaling methodology, there's no expectations, there's no connection to the real work. It's just like, here you go, use this tool. And that's why you're seeing, so many AI pilots fail. I saw a
Right.
couple numbers just this week. 95% of AI pilots fail, and the
Mm-hmm.
majority of those are large scale LM deployments that,
Yeah.
they're just not getting good uses out of, right?
Right.
So, well, and on the other side of things, we have legacy softwares that are like, oh, we're turning into AI companies, right? In
Yeah.
fact, they're just including a little chat bot that answers basic questions about the things that we already know and do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really a good use of AI, and it's creating a lot of negative views around AI too. Like, people We're just like, no, AI doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't help. It's blah, 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 right? It's because the deployments aren't correct.
Hmm.
When we do deployments, we're step by step white glove. We provide trainings, we have expectations, we meet with every user that we possibly can, we build
Yeah,
champions, right? We set the guidelines or the guardrails, if you will. These are the areas that we know you have problems. Let's use AI to help you solve those problems. And that kind of brings me to my total point here. Don't just use AI because it's AI. Yeah, it's cool. Like you want to be innovative, but you should really find a problem that AI should fix for you or at least assist you in, right? Don't just throw it at a workflow that already works really well because yeah, it's gonna the way that it's not gonna make anything better.
exactly.
So that's what I'm seeing. That's what we do. I really believe in like high touch, white glove experience for the user to get them through the discomforts of AI and walk them through expectations.
It makes a lot of sense. And from a product and an onboarding perspective, that's excellent, perfect. And from the from the more consultative approach that I'm working through right now with customers, it's the exact same thing. I have told anyone who will listen to me that the two ways that AI pilots fail are in the setup and in the change management. That's it. It's in the setup and the change management. That's it. And so you have to be able to make sure that all of your communications, well, first of all, that you're solving the right problem, as you just said, but then also that everyone is trained and comfortable, and it's a multi-step process. And folks just think that because it's AI, it's easy. And that couldn't be any further from the truth because making people change their behavior is always messy. And that's essentially what you're doing here. I have a full document, which I'll have to do a different podcast at a different time about. But it's what I use with my clients to essentially get them to prioritize what they want to do or what they can do for their AI agents. And it essentially comes down to three different questions. It's what are you and your team spending the most time doing? That's easy. That's like the table stakes. Then the next one is what is messy that should be cleaned up? And the answer to that is always training documentation in my world. I'm sure you can come up with a lot of things in your world, though, Brady, but mine is always training documentation. And the next one is what are you ignoring that you could be fixing that could have a lot of really big impact if you had more time to do it? But there's folks who are just like, nope, that's over here, not exactly broken, not on fire. We're going to leave it alone.
Mhm.
So then take all those things and then rate them and scale them. And then it like gives you a prioritized order of what are those tasks that you should be doing and they're customized to your business. And that's really how I found the best way. That is the best way that I have found to actually take all the hype and solidify it, like pull it down and actually make it into tactics and real deliverables.
Yeah, I love that. I think having direction, having a manual process to understand where your problems exist and where AI might fit into those problems is so critical.
Hmm.
I'm so sick of blanket AI deployments. It's creating such a bad energy in the space,
Yeah.
and it's just a lot of people just don't want to use it because of it. So I think you're
Right.
spot on doing that process, really.
Yeah. It's been really helpful just to get everyone to level set too. And also, and I know we weren't necessarily going to talk about this, but I think it is important to kind of briefly mention is to get everyone comfortable with AI too. So kind of walking through that process. There are some folks who legitimately have some big concerns about using AI. Most of which have to do with is AI going to take my job, which I can 100% tell you today that that's not going to happen in most cases, but that's a different story for a different day too. Maybe that could be another whole episode. But that's those steps to like walking through that process is really helpful from that perspective as well.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. I think if an individual can't become AI enabled, then they are at risk. I
Yeah.
think AI has to be integrated into your work in some way just to build efficiency and really scale in companies. So I agree with you. It's not going to take your job right away, but you should still be AI enabled and be able to work with it day to day.
That's actually a really good segue into the future of AI because I know that's going to be something that's it's going to be an interesting topic. People will be talking about it forever. I had someone ask me yesterday, do you think that we will start to see the addition of AI something like AI in front of the job description title? And my initial response was yes, but it's going to be part of that adoption curve, right? It's just like everything else that there's this new thing. We'll have some AI directors for a little while until everyone figures out that it needs to be, to your point, needs to be part of everyone's job description as we're kind of working our way up that adoption bell curve.
Yeah. So in my industry, in the safety profession as a whole, I've seen a number of, especially utilities or any sort of high risk, really mobile work, say publicly that if we lose someone to transfer of job, or if someone retires, that they have to look at that role to make sure that it can't be absorbed by AI.
Fair
We're
enough.
already seeing that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
from my perspective, there's some jobs out there that could be heavily influenced with AI, especially like anything that's related to math, engineering, anything that's really high touch but really STEM focused. AI does a good job with it right now.
Hmm.
But caveats here. You're still going to need someone to work with the AI. It's just like, okay, we lose someone, we're going to build an agent to replace them right now. Someone still needs to be able to manipulate the models. It's still there.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think as time moves forward, it will be integrated into job descriptions. It already is, honestly. Again, in the utility sector, I know a company that won't hire my students out of college if they don't have some form of integrated coursework with AI.
Hmm.
I just think
Makes sense.
that's the future.
Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. And what are some of the other things that you're seeing from LLMs and from some of the providers of AI right now? Because I know you're pretty plugged into some of those early pilots, Brady. So I was wondering if you might be able to share anything about what the future is going to look like for us.
Yeah, I mean, we can't not talk about this Claude code. I mean, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Um, a couple weeks ago when that really started getting traction, people started vibe coding. It is impressive what it can do. I will admit though that it's still heavily geared towards the engineer.
Yeah,
Like it's
absolutely.
for the computer scientists, for the computer engineer, software engineer, devs, right? As time moves forward, well, I don't think we're too far from this either. As time moves forward, it's going to get to the point where you can plain language code. We're seeing it with Lovable right now. Like you can build quick web apps, deploy it really quick, right?
Hmm.
The problem is how do you scale?
Right.
I think,
Right.
there's going to be a lot of really cool vibe coded product out there in the next 6 to 12 months, but they're not going to be able to scale without an engineer, at least, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's a good point. So when you say they're not going to be able to scale, I just want you to dig into that a little bit more about what you mean specifically. I think I know, but I'd love for you to tell me.
yeah. So for me, scaling is, can you give it to everyone in your organization and can it work and function day to day without bugs, right? Cloud Code is doing some great work with bug fixes, but a lot of the time it still requires an engineer. And then you're talking about customized UIs, UX, right?
Hmm.
Can an AI model is going to build what it thinks is right in terms of UI, UX, unless you're seriously prompting it, you know?
Hmm.
And then you talk about like, if you need to send stuff to servers, how is that encrypted? Are you using AWS? What are you using for your cloud data? How secure is it? Are you built to SOC 2 requirements? Like, there's so much stuff that is required to actually deploy at scale within enterprise that
Hmm.
Cloud Code doesn't do right now.
Hmm.
Now, I've been asked, well, do you think it will get there? Yes,
Hmm.
with time, though.
Yeah.
With time.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where the cutoff is. And I think we're seeing it a little bit in terms of data privacy right now, where kind of things have been added until now people are like, whoa, timeout. Like, look at TikTok. Like, everyone's like, no, whoa, timeout. What's happening here? Do you think that there will also be a point in time where the LLMs, all of them, are just we're going to be like, okay, you can do enough. now. Like it might be 20 years from now, but maybe we'll see. We're moving pretty quick. But do you see that point hitting, or do you think we're just going to roll with it?
Man, I think there's going to be a select few individuals globally that will make that decision for us. I
Yeah, you're not
seriously,
wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
they're,
Yeah.
so I was recently told by a very large company, they do multiple tens of $1 billion a year, that and they're in the data center space, that if we don't build fast enough, it's a serious national security threat
Yeah.
to the United States and the world.
Right.
And part of the rapid pace comes what we were just explaining, right? Like, are we going to stop all of a sudden the progress of AI and say, nope, that's good. We're good where we're at? I don't think so, because other countries, other areas are not going to slow their pace. They're going to
No.
want to outpace the United States and other, friendly countries, right?
Mhm.
So the one side of me is like, yeah, I'd love for it to stop at some point. The other side of me thinks we're headed towards super intelligence probably in the next decade, maybe 2035, 2040-ish, to the point where when we go to sleep and wake up, we're going to be back in time, because AI has already advanced so much and learned so much while we were asleep that we're not going to be able to keep up. But that's me. I mean, people have different thoughts on it.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with you at all. I think that there is a reality in which we could get there. I absolutely do. But you and I have also talked about the fact that, so when you say a few individuals will make that decision for us, 100%, absolutely. I think that could be a very real thing. In terms of general day to day, average people, average Joe, average Jane, I think we are going to be throttled by the adoption curve. So the amount that can actually be monetized from AI if AI is not making the decisions, if AI is not trained to continue the path forward, and it has to go and stick to it, it has to be tethered to a human, then we'll be throttled. We'll be able to kind of moderate the pace and go as fast as that happens. If, on the other hand, AI is allowed to go without a human and remains untethered, I don't think that there is a stop at that point. So it'll be really interesting to see kind of where the comfort levels start to fit. We are like prehistoric age as far as I'm concerned right now about what could be possible with AI. So it'll be interesting. You keep saying 2035. I don't disagree with you. I think the next 10 years are going to be wild, absolutely
Yeah.
wild.
I mean, there's projections out there by the end of 2027, we have real AGI. I mean, Elon Musk has come out and said it, and everyone's going to, work to get there right alongside X, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the adoption curve, I think, will be very similar to electricity back in the day.
Yeah.
Going to take some time for people to get used to. Slowly, it'll start integrating into their household, and then over time, the whole thing is wired and it's just part of you. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that you say electricity. I like that analogy better. I've been using automobile, horse and buggy to automobile, same kind of thing, but I like that now we don't even think about it. But if we don't have electricity, we're cranky as a human being. So I think that's a much better analogy than a horse and buggy to automobile. But awesome. Well, Brady, this is a great conversation, as usual. I love catching up with you because I love hearing your thoughts about what's going on. I know you're plugged into several things and just talking to people all the time. So it's been a pleasure, and I appreciate you again for giving us your time today. So thank you.
no, thanks for having me. Appreciate the conversation.
Thank you for tuning in to Scale Without Chaos. If today's episode sparked new ideas or gave you a fresh perspective, do me a favor. Hit that follow button, subscribe for new episodes, and share this with someone who's going through what we talked about today. This podcast is all about visionary leadership, sustainable business growth, and the systems that make scale possible. For more content, free resources, and behind-the-scenes insights, connect with me on LinkedIn, follow along on Instagram at Scale Without Chaos, and subscribe to the newsletter.